Today I'm in East Lothian and I'm on the trail of William Wallace. Today I'm in East Lothian, and this is a story, a tale, something that's come down through the centuries, through folklore, that has intrigued me and it's niggled away at me for quite a while to do it. So I've decided to do it. Way behind me there, in the depths below, because it's quite steep up here, I'm up at a place that's called Cairny Hill, and down below there are the ruins of Garleton Castle. Now, the ruins that are down there are 1500s. But the reason I'm here today, there is an old tale concerning none other than one of our national heroes. And that hero is William Wallace. Story has it that an earlier castle occupied the position of Garleton Castle now. Now, whether that was a timber stronghold, wooden palisades, we just do not know. And that Wallace, from his hideout up here with some men, harassed the garrison of the castle with their arrows. And it's a very intriguing story. The facts are, we know that William Wallace was in the area. He was at nearby Haddington. He was pursuing the Earl of Dunbar, Cospatrick. And he also wrote the Lubeck letter from Haddington. So it's reasonable to assume that Wallace would scour the area of East Lothian, which was predominantly held with English authority. Blind Harry was a poet, and he collected his he told history in the form of poetry, and he collected his stories from local tradition. Now, he was 170 years after the death of William Wallace, so quite some time has passed. But if we only go by the history books, it leaves quite a lot of gaps in the knowledge and the legend of our folk heroes, and no doubt there's much legend about William Wallace, and although we can't verify it in the history books, there has to be some elements of truth or half-truths, or the seed of something that happened that's been told through generation after generation after generation. And hence, place names are named after people. So Wallace's Pit or Wallace's Cave is up here. It's notoriously hard to find. The gorse bushes here are thick and in some places impenetrable, but I'm going to keep looking. But this is the area. It's on the north side of Cairny Hill, overlooking the castle, and this is it said where you can just imagine them hidden out up here with a group of men harassing them with their bows and arrows, and very steep hill, difficult for anyone being harassed to get up here and confront them. And they've got a great getaway straight over the hills at the back here, back towards Haddington. It's a brilliant story, and some legendary stories deserve merit, because the facts are, we know that William Wallace, his footsteps, he's tread all over East Lothian. So he is bound to leave, especially after his death. He would have been talked about all over the country, in people's homes, around the campfires, at evening get-togethers and what have you. Tales of William Wallace would have been rife in the country, and this is certainly one of them. Certainly one of the lesser known ones, but I think it's something that deserves a little bit of merit, because Wallace did have a presence here, and it's only reasonable to assume if there was any English occupation that Wallace would not hesitate in harassing them. One thing's for sure, if Wallace did in fact hide in that cave and harass the garrison at the castle, it's certainly within bowshot. And that's one of the things that's one of the questions that I had in my mind before coming up this hill. Likely not war bows or English longbows that they used, but would he have had adequate distance for bowshot? Not necessarily to kill. The tale says that it was designed to harass. That's what Blind Harry tells us. But it certainly concealed them well, and it's certainly within bowshot of the castle. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And a great getaway here. He can make his way away up the back passes up this way and disappear as quickly as his presence was felt. So what you've seen there, what I've found is not so much what I would call a cave. I mean, it's called Wallace's Cave, but it's more like a wedge or a nick in a rock. It certainly gives them cover. It's on the north side of the hill, just overlooking the castle there. Quite steep to get down into and crawl up out again, but I suppose for a man of William Wallace's reputed size and stature, that wouldn't have been too much of a problem. But a really good place to harass someone and make a quick getaway. My question always is, if Wallace was in the area, he would have been here with probably at least a couple of hundred men anyway. If there was a garrison there, how many would man that garrison? 10? 15? Why not just attack it directly? But wasn't there. We have very little information. We never know. So we just go with the myths and the legends. But if we did not have legends around William Wallace, what we knew of them would be very scanty. But we know straight after the Battle of Stirling Bridge in 1297, he came down here to East Lothian, and his presence would certainly have been felt both by the local people and by any foreign occupation in the area. East Lothian is a bed of history. It's not only a beautiful place, but it's embedded with history to come here. The birth of the Scottish St Andrew's flag was just a couple of miles from here, just a short distance from here. Athelstaneford at an ancient battle back then. Lots of ancient hill forts here, standing stones. So it's an area that's rich in its heritage. But in terms of William Wallace, like I say, probably many areas, certainly in southern Scotland, have great tales to tell about our national hero. And we should embrace those tales because they do create the legend that is William Wallace, as long as they don't detract from the facts and what we do know about them. William Wallace was a shooting star, and he came out of nowhere. Suddenly he performed great things, and then he fell very quickly, and not long after that he was caught and he was executed in London at the hands of Edward I. But as long as Wallace was active, he was a pain, a thorn in the flesh, and not only for England, but for many of the Scots people here. From the noble class. But this is Garleton, this is Cairny Hill. It's a wonderful place to visit. Is there any merit to the truth here that Wallace harassed the English? You decide. One of the more intriguing parts of the story is that Wallace ceased his harassment because he thought he'd been discovered by a dog. Apparently a hunting dog started to sniff around the cave. It had around its neck some cooked roots, a welcome meal as such, but Wallace hightailed it out of there, and that ended the harassment of the English garrison that were holed up here. It's a fascinating story, and it belongs in the William Wallace legend.